Hey everybody, it's On here. Great to see you. And I am out in this incredible spot. I haven't been here before, and this is called Buck's Ledge. It's just maybe about, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 miles from where I live. So it's pretty close by. It's funny, somebody looked up something for me the other day online and they Googled it, you know, where you can look at all the terrain and everything, and they're like, wow, there's a lot of trees out there and no buildings. And I said, exactly, it's an amazing place. I love it here in Maine, and I am feeling so blessed to be here. This is the last couple of months, as many of you know that have been following my journey, has been really an intense time for me with a lot of different things going on. And I'm very, very excited to continually be able to work through this process no matter what the challenges have been, and even if it's been going slower than I would have liked. And I know a lot of you can relate to this, and I'm not sharing this just to talk about what's happening with me, but to lead into a bigger topic for this month that we're getting into, that October is going to have a lot to do with in the codes, and that this upcoming current new moon energy portal has a lot to do with, and that's about rebirth. And it's very interesting, I came upon this topic for this time when the seasons are so powerfully changing right here at the autumn equinox for us in the northern hemisphere, and what would be the spring equinox for those in the southern hemisphere. And I'm going to try to make this kind of short, and if I keep looking out, I'm just amazed because the part that you can't see, I mean, yes, you can see these beautiful trees, but the part you can't see is I have 3 lakes in front of me, one to my right, one to my left, and one forward and to my right. So it's an incredible, incredible view, and I've got a couple of pictures posted with this video online. And we are just headed into where the seasons are changing, so this aspect of rebirth is incredibly powerful in our codes right now, and many of you can probably relate to having a lot of challenges. And I know a lot of people have been going through challenges that I've known, whether that has been mental challenges, emotional challenges, physical challenges, things that are literally life-changing. Their whole life is transforming. And I was talking with a friend earlier today, and one of the things I was mentioning to her for some of the changes that she was going through had to do with this aspect of this rebirth is not just starting a new chapter in our life, it's like shutting the whole book on one part of our life and starting the next book in the series. So this is a bigger than normal time for transformation. It's a bigger than normal time for rebirth. And a lot of people have expressed this huge, huge intensity that they've been going through. They're like, I can't move, I feel frustrated, I'm up against a wall, I'm between a rock and a hard place, I don't feel like there's any good options in this situation. And what's really interesting is when we're in these spaces, and what happens in the codes right before the rebirth energy code is stagnation, being stuck, feeling like we can't move. And I'm sure there's some of you out there going, yes, yes, that's it. That's exactly what I've been feeling. Feeling in this space where you've got a mission, a purpose, something that you want to do, and you can't quite get there, and you don't know how to get there, and your mind is racing, blah, 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 right? And it goes off into these tangents, and it kind of reminds me of a post that I saw online today, which I put on my page, and it's this little boy, and he's scrambling, and he's struggling, and he's frantic in the water, and his mom comes and picks him up, and all of a sudden he realizes the water is only not even to his hips. And here he's been struggling, not even wanting to put his feet down. And that's where I think a lot of people have been, and these unexpected things have come up to challenge them in this process and to make them question, am I on the right path? Am I on the right track? Have I gotten lost? I feel disconnected. I don't feel like I have any connection with God. I don't have any connection with my soul self. Or I feel like I'm all alone, and I'm frustrated, and I'm hurting, and I'm this, and I'm that. And we have to be very, very careful, because on one hand, we need to be in the authenticity of acknowledging what happens. And in another hand, we need to make sure we're not feeding these stories and perpetuating and creating more of the story to continue. And so in this rebirth time, one of the things I'm really encouraging people right now is to stop and look, and this is part of why we're in stagnation, because stagnation is such a huge learning period. And even if we don't know all of the lessons when we're in it, we're definitely going to know them as we move forward. And it's not always about knowing how to do something, or all the steps to take, or all the answers, or the whole path before we get started. It's just about knowing we don't want to be where we are anymore. We want to walk a new path. We want to go in a new direction. And right there, that's our soul self taking command, saying, I'm not doing this number anymore. I'm not going to let people mistreat me. I'm not going to walk with a lack of integrity. I'm not going to be involved in certain things. I'm not going to live this story of pain. I'm not going to keep going through this pattern of emotional distress or whatever it is for you. And so when we do this, it becomes a really powerful point of rebirth. And that's some of the things that I really want to encourage you with. And I know I'm kind of maybe moving through a little quicker than normal tonight because I'm working against daylight out here. And I don't want to be out too late on the areas, even though it's not a long hike back. But this rebirthing point is so powerful right now. And it is an incredible part of our journey right now. So when we get in and we look at what the codes are for rebirth, and I'm going through a huge amount of this because it was just 2 days ago that I took full control on this body and that Jesse left. And today marks the passing of Jesse's sister. So anybody who has read the 2019 book, you will understand how all of that connects in. And I'm so excited because soon I'll be writing the next chapter, or the next part of that story, for what the last year has been like for me, being on my own in this body here, in this life, in this existence. So it's interesting that my own challenges kind of came at my own personal turning point, a personal shift in my codes here, which is very interesting to experience. So when we look at rebirth, the codes for rebirth have to do with this. Rebirth has to do with finding a path, or walking a path of success that comes out of the wisdom that we've gained to this point. So the success is unfolding. So when we embrace rebirth, what we're actually doing is saying, I'm done walking this path, not going to do this anymore. I'm going to take a new direction, and that path is going to be based on finding success through my wisdom. So it unfolds that when we make that decision to say no more to what no longer serves us, to what we don't want to stand in, and we say, now I'm going to walk this other path. Whether I have pain in my body or don't have pain in my body, I'm going to be happy. Whether I have this emotional trauma or not, I'm not going down that road. So when people show up and they're bringing that baggage in, I'm going to be saying no thank you, and move on in another direction. I'm going to walk a different path because this is not where I'm at. Not to make it right or wrong or say that it hasn't had its purpose, because it has, but to say I'm done doing this and I'm ready for something else now. So that rebirth is taking a new direction, and whether we realize it or not in rebirth, we are doing it through wisdom. It's a redirection into wisdom, and living through the wisdom self, through the God knowledge, through the understanding of the soul. And again, it's not that we understand every little detail or piece about it, because it's always an unfolding journey. But to say, hey, I just simply want to walk in a new direction. I want a new experience. And again, this is a bigger than normal time. So this is a time that really favors those gigantic, big life shifts. This is the time that favors relocations. It favors total redirection. It favors looking at our life as if, what if this was the last day? And not in a grim way or a believing that this is that, but in a way of, how am I going to maximize this day? What will make this day the most fulfilling I can make it, no matter what I have to do? So I think those are really some powerful pieces about rebirth. Now, when we look at what the circle of rebirth is about, and each thing has a circle or a journey or a cycle that it takes, and it repeats that cycle over and over again. And so rebirth actually is a journey into trust, and trusting that we are on a path to lead us home to our own self, for some that's God, for some that's the soul self. Each person is going to put their own little twist into that, or their own definition of home into that. Sometimes that's a literal home, sometimes that's a figurative home. It's a journey to trust, going within the self, allowing the soul self, the God self, to come out, take command, and to be willing to be still and peaceful as we continue through that journey, which leads us into victory and moves us through the storms in life with the wisdom that we have gained. Now, when we add and we go into the process of rebirthing, and we add that extra ing on there, we then rest after we move through the challenges, and we can clearly see what's needed to move forward and embrace and receive the gift that's there for us. So the rebirthing process is so magical, and it's so beautiful, and it's so incredible, especially when we put it in the active sense of rebirthing. And the code energy for rebirthing then brings us back around to finding our freedom. It brings us back around to freedom of being able to move in the world, and that is the gift that we receive, is the freedom of coming home to ourself and to realizing what is truly an open journey experience. So as I open up with the singing bowl today, and I brought my deeper sounding bowl out here today, and it's going to be interesting to see how it sounds with the birds in the background, because we have some beautiful birds singing in the background right now and the bugs here, and hopefully this won't bother the other people that are here today. And I want you to just kind of tune in and think about maybe what you're rebirthing in your life right now. What is coming up for you? What are you transforming? What on your journey are you done with? And what path do you want to walk now? And that's all a choice. That's an internal choice, and it doesn't matter what the external circumstances are. You can walk any path that you want to walk. So let me reach down and get this bowl. And let's just start. Let's go ahead and let's take a couple of deep breaths. Allow yourselves to center in. It's funny, I'm getting so many dragonfly symbols lately. Every time I go into spirit space, I have dragonflies flying around me. I guess that feeds the rebirth energy. And keep breathing. Okay. And just tune in. This doesn't have to be long, but I just want you to tune in through that breath, through that relaxation, for what you are rebirthing at this time. Find yourself stating what you will no longer walk anymore. Find yourself leaving one space and walking into a whole new space. look and embrace with your wisdom and your excitement what this new path will hold for you. The wisdom that you get to set in motion, and the gifts of success that you get to experience, the victories that you will achieve, not from competition, but from releasing and surrendering into the soul's way, into the co-journey, the journey of alignment. Take the time to close the chapters that you want to close. Close the parts of the series that you want to close off. And open the new book in your series. The new life you want to live. Doesn't matter how ready you feel for it. All you need to do is to want to embrace it. And take a moment to breathe into that. Take a moment to enjoy the purity of the space that you're stepping into. Breathe into the joy of selecting the soul's way. Which always allows, through the rebirthing process, freedom in all of time and space. And gradually now, let your breathing restore. And let yourself work your way back to this space, bringing forth that rebirthing energy. Carrying that with you. Excited for the new chapters, the new books in the series that you're starting. You know, I know Jessie never could have imagined when she left Utah the hardships she would have experienced, and yet she never would have traded any of them because of where the journey took her. And many people express that. They will say, you know, I am embracing, facing, acknowledging whatever the hardest things in my life, the most challenging things, but I am finding the most rewarding and incredible spaces within myself, and I am opening doors that I never thought I could open. And I think that's a powerful piece to what the code journey is all about. We don't know where it's going to lead us, and we don't with anything through our human consciousness. But the soul always has something amazing for us to experience. And when we immerse and embrace ourselves in that, not wallowing within the pain and the devastation pieces, but when we face it and move on and we allow the soul self to take charge, we keep perpetuating that rebirthing energy for ourselves. So I hope this has been a powerful piece for you. I hope that it has connected for you. And even though I am later than I would like in getting the Code Journey book out for 2020, this rebirthing concept is going to be a big piece for the next several years. We have a lot of rebirthing going on, not only internally, but externally in our world. Lots of shifts and changes. And learning to embrace the rebirthing process is going to be extremely helpful for us as we take this journey. So I'm going to come into Heart Center. Namaste. And, many, many blessings to all of you as you journey through this transformations of seasons, because, again, rebirthing is not just about this turning at the equinox that we have, but it is a powerful time all through October. For some, the end of October is their new year. And for some, in many cultures, they consider that the Day of the Dead and the Day of the Angels, when the veils are transparent. And so there's a lot of rebirthing energy that is present all the way through the month of October. And like I said, 2020, we got lots of changes in the next 4 to 5 years at looking at what's going to be in the code. So getting this rebirthing thing down, yeah, that's that. Hey, take care, everybody. Keep watching. I'll let you know as soon as the 2020 book is available. And love you all. And until next month.